Good morning. Man, I got caught fiddling around and a minute or two late, and I'm sorry about that. I am Stampin' Dee, and this is Stampin' Thursday, and I am so excited to be here today. We are going to do an activity that is relaxing, and what I actually got caught doing was trying to pull up some relaxing music, and that didn't happen. So I couldn't find it fast enough, and I didn't allow enough time. So anyway, we are going to do some watercoloring, and that is such a relaxing activity. I thought we needed music for it, but I didn't get the music going. Maybe next time. So we are going to watercolor with our blender pen. And this is this has been around a long time, but not everybody that's newer to stamping know what to do with their blender pen. So that's what this is for. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's new and interesting and certainly relaxing for you as well. So we're going to use an image from Irresistible Blooms, which is one of the new exclusive online stamp sets. And if you have not taken a look at this stamp set yet, then you need to. Stamp set and the dies. It's the dies. I mean, the stamps are beautiful, but these dies are amazing. And I did a Facebook Live not too long ago using, maybe even my Dying to Know, using these. I think it was last month's Dying to Know, using these, showing you how to use them and how beautiful they are. But today we're just going to use the flowers and the leaves, and we're going to color them. So let's get started. And what I didn't do was get myself a card base. So let me do that real quick. I had some commitments, some things that I had to get done, and I stayed up last night really late getting those things done. So I didn't get everything ready for this morning, but here we go. We are going to use a 5 by 3 3/4 sheet of the thick basic white cardstock. Now you could use regular cardstock, but the thick works a little better. And of course watercolor paper would be great, but I didn't want that texture. I wanted this texture. So we're going to use that. We're going to use the new Bubble Bath. I think this is going to be one of my favorite colors. It's one of the new core colors, Bubble Bath. And we're going to use basic gray for our image, for our basic image, and then Old Olive, just a wonderful standby for our leaves. So let's get started. Let me open up my basic gray, and I've already mounted the larger flower onto my acrylic block. And I'm going to use basic gray because I want it to be a softer image. When you're watercoloring, black StazOn ink is really the perfect thing to use, but I didn't want a sharp black image, and I see something on my ink pad that I want to get off. Let me grab my rag. I don't know what you do with your husband's old t-shirts, but I cut them up into pieces and I keep them in my drawer right here next to me, and I use them all the time. All right, and so I'm going to stamp this image right up here in the corner. I'm going to stamp it right here. Isn't that nice? Such a soft, beautiful image. And then I'm going to come along with the leaves, and I'm going to stamp them in the same color. And I'll do one up here. And I want to get it as close as I can. And it'll be off just a little bit, but that's okay. Get that one done. And I'm going to do another one right down here. There we go. So we have our basic image. Now, because we're using regular ink instead of StazOn, we're going to need to be careful not to cause it to run or smear. But that shouldn't be a problem. You just don't want to use your blender pen right over the lines. So I'm going to try to avoid the lines as best I can. Now, the other thing we need to do is take our stamp pad, and we want to get some ink on the lid. So I'm just going to mash it in, and that should give me some ink on my lid. That's what I'm going to use. And it doesn't matter which tip I use. I think I'll use the other one because it already looks kind of used. And then I'm just going to pick up some of my ink, and I'm going to start off. Now, when I watercolor, especially when I'm using my blender pen, I don't want it to be even, and you definitely want to leave lots of white space. And especially when I'm doing a flower like this, I generally leave white around the edges. It's just going to add depth and interest. So I'm just going to pull the color out, but I'm going to leave the white around the edges. Let me see. Let me see if I can lower this down just a little bit. Maybe that'll help just a little. All right. So I'm just going to do each petal that way, and what I'm doing is I'm coloring from the bottom to the edge of the petal, and I'm doing each one that way. And this is a good image for that because it's just such a pretty flower. It gives you lots of space to color. And I turn this as I go. Now, as you can see, there's really not any smearing. So that's a good thing. And I go from the center out. All my strokes are from the center out. And that way you're pulling the color out from your starting area too. Now we're going to come back and add a little bit of depth to this in a minute. But for now we're just laying the color down, and I want it all the way around that. And looks like there's a petal there, so I'm going to use that. And then I have this petal right here in the middle, and isn't this a pretty color? I love this bubble bath. Love it. Love the pink, the shade of pink that it is. All right, looks like we have one more petal to go. Oh, we have one where we kind of overlapped our leaf, which is okay. It's okay. All right, now I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to lay down a little bit of a darker. I'm just going to put a little color over what I've already laid down, just a little. And this is just going to give it some depth. You'll see as we do this, it's going to give it some depth. Now, wouldn't some soft music be nice? Yeah. Next time I'll give myself some more time and find it. Isn't that, boy, that, I love that. I love this color. And I love how that really deepens the center of the flower, the edges of the leaves. Okay. We're almost done with this flower. I'm going to put a little bit more here. And I'm going to come on out on this one where the leaf is so that it looks like it's part of the flower. Some depth here. And here. Yeah, we're almost done. And that's good because I'm almost out of ink in my lid. All right, I see that I could use a little bit of depth right there. Now, the other thing is you don't want to press hard and you don't want to stay in one spot too long, because if you do, you're going to start peeling the paper, and you don't want to do that. All right, I think, well, I see one place right here. I want to color that whole thing in, and I see another place where I want to color where the edge of the petal is flipped over. I'm going to go ahead and color that in so it's different, so it is distinct from the rest of it. All right, and then to clean our blender pen, let me close this up for now. And to clean my blender pen, I just go back and forth on a piece of scratch paper until I don't see color. So now I'm gonna get some, you know what, I think I remember that the green has plenty of ink in the lid. You can tell I use this a lot, right? All right, now we're gonna do our leaves. So I'm just gonna pick up, I don't want it as dark as the center of that is. So, and on my leaf, I'm gonna do it at the bottom. And then I'm gonna come up the veins and just do the veins. And that's probably basically all I'm going to do. I can pull some color up here, and you can pull some from the middle if you want. If it bothers you to leave that much white on the leaf, you can pull some more color in. This is a very personal thing, and there. So now I'm going to come, and on this leaf, I think I'll just do the veins. See if I can get the veins. They're white. And if I can just lay that little bit of color there, I think it's going to work. And now we'll do these leaves. So I come up from the bottom, and then I'm going to pick a little darker up and do the veins. And then I'm going to come back and just pull a little more color in. Okay? And then I have this leaf. So I'll do the bottom. And then I'm going to do the veins. As you can see, doing it this way, it just doesn't take very long. I'll do these veins. And then we'll come back and just pull a little bit of a color in. You know, working with the blender pen, I think gives it a real soft look. Whereas sometimes with the paintbrush, the aqua painter or paintbrush or markers, you get streaks and it's not quite the soft look that you get with a blender pen. I'm going to come back to these veins here. All right, I think that is done. Now, I'm going to get another piece of white out, and we're going to go ahead and do the inside of this card. And I need to cut this to 4 by 5 1/4. 5 1/4 by 4. It is almost by 4. Yeah, it is. I thought it was, but it looked too big. But that's because this is smaller. This is for the inside of our card, and I thought I would just use the small flower. So let me get that out. The smaller flower. And let me clean this stamp. Use my chamois and get my stamp clean so I can take it off. Put it away. And put my small flower on here. And on this one, I'm just going to do a flower right in the corner. No leaves, just the flower right in the corner. And I'm going to stamp it off a good bit. There we go. So I just want the corner. All right. We don't need the green because we're not going to do any leaves on that one. And I have one more thing to do with the basic gray, but let me set it over here and get my bubble bath out again. Well, I think I'm going to need to get me just a little bit more ink. There we go. I'm going to get the green off of my blender pen. Okay, pick up a little of the bubble bath, and again, I'm just going to barely, not even as much, just barely lay some color down onto this little flower on the inside, just so it matches color-wise. Pull out, pull out. All right, that was quick and easy. Now let me lay just a little bit more color down. Right on the very inside tip, the very edge. All right, there we go. All right, let's clean our brush and put that, set that aside. Now, one thing we are going to do with our bubble bath. All right, so what I'll do next is stamp my sentiment. And I chose a sentiment from the new, what's it called? Seasonal Branches. This sentiment is from that Seasonal Branches, and it says, "May you feel sheltered in the love that surrounds you." Isn't that pretty? May you feel sheltered in the love that surrounds you. So I'm going to go ahead with my basic gray and stamp my sentiment on the front of my card, and I'm going to line this up. And I'm going to do it right up here. All right, may you feel sheltered in the love that surrounds you. Now we're going to, well, let me do this first. These are the dots, and I think these are from the Daisy set. Or yeah, I think they are. So I'm just going to put just a few dots, scattered little dots right here coming off of this. And right here in the corner, I'm going to add a few. There we go. Maybe just a few more down here. Now, there. Because now we're going to use the basic border dies, which I have right here. These are our basic border dies. And I'm going to use this one. And I'm choosing this one because it has a little scalloped edge. And I think that's just going to give this card that special touch. So I'm going to bring my, let me see. I may not be able to do this. Whoops. I'm not going to be able to do this with the small one. So I'm not going to bring the big one in. Well, I guess I could. Let me do that so you can see. And bring the big one in. And the top plate. All right. So I'm going to set this on here. And it'll cut part of my leaf off, but that's okay. And I'm going to leave. I'm eyeballing it. I could measure it. And if you're that person, then you can measure it. But I'm going to eyeball it. And I'm leaving the same space here and here. And I'm going to secure it down with just a little piece of washi tape. All right. I think we're ready to cut. Set this down on top. And here we go. All right. Whoops. Didn't mean to hit the... So we have our piece. And there it is. With a little edge cut off of it and a little bit of a scallop. Let me put my border, my die away. Now, we're going to build our card. Static electricity. Okay. So I'm going to put this right onto this bubble bath cardstock. And this piece is cut 4 by 5 1/4. This one was 5 by 3 3/4. This is 5 1/4 by 4. So just 1/4 of an inch larger. All right, I'm ready to put that on. My lid was stuck to my adhesive. All right. So I'm going to put this on. Put this on here. Oops. Okay. Now, if you wanted, you could pop this up. You could definitely do that, and it would definitely look nice. I didn't do that. There we go. And then we're going to put that on a 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 piece of basic gray cardstock, folded at 4 1/4. And we're going to back that right on there, just like that. Hi, Jamie. Thank you for saying something. Hi, Cindy. Looky there. Hello. Yes, my sweet friend. It's so good to see you. both of you. All right, let me get my adhesive on here. I love it that y'all are watching and at least mentally making a card with me. All right. This is going to go right here. You know, and one of the nice things about the blender pen, if you haven't invested in a lot of Stampin' Blends or Stampin' Right markers, you can just use your ink and a blender pen and accomplish the same thing. All right. So we have that. And now we're going to use a little bit of ribbon. Let me grab my ribbon. I thought I grabbed it ahead of time, but I didn't. There it is. No, that's not it. Here it is. I thought, where is my ribbon? I tell you what. And we're going to make a bow. We've got our ribbon, our olive green ribbon. We're going to make a bow. And actually, this is just going to be a very small bow. So I'm going to bring it down. Bring it down. We're actually going to do this blender pen technique in a class that I'm doing Saturday. Yeah, we're going to put this right up here. So I need to trim this way down. It's going to go right there with a glue dot. Right there. Which means I'm going to trim this down just a tad bit more. There we go. So I'll trim this one too. Well, these aren't my ribbon scissors. Can you tell? I'm going to get my ribbon scissors. I keep a pair of scissors with a ribbon on them to remind me, let me know which is which. And they do so much better. But they're sharp. You know, I haven't used them on paper, so they're sharp. All right, put my ribbon scissors back up. Get my gems out. These are the pastel pearls. And we're going to use the pinky pink ones. And I'm going to grab take a pick tool. And I'm just going to use a few of these. I'll put one right here. And if I have something I need to cover up, if I have a mess up, I use my pearls for that too, or my gems. We're going to put one right there. And we're going to put another one right here. You should always use odd numbers, either 1 or 3 or 5. That's just an art rule. All right, so all we need now is our inside piece. Put our inside piece in, and this beautiful card is ready to send to somebody who needs to hear a loving word from you. May you feel sheltered in the love that surrounds you. That's it. Blender pen and ink. That's all we needed to use for this card. So, blender pens are inexpensive. Let's see. Let me look and see exactly how much the blender pen is. I should have looked that up. Let me look. It'll only take a second to find it. Here it is, number 8. $13. So for $13, you get a blender pen, and then whatever inks you have, use those, and you can watercolor and color in your card. All right. It was a short one today, and thank you for being with me. It's good to see you on, Janie and Cindy, and there's Kay. Hi, Kay. So you're going to get to use the blender pen Saturday in the class. You're going to get to watercolor a little bit with the blender pen. All right. It's so good to see all of you. And those of you who are watching the replay on YouTube, thank you for doing that. Please comment. Let me know that you're watching. Let me know where you're from. And if you think somebody else would enjoy seeing it, then you can share it. And that always helps. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.